Hey people, it's Niall Stokey, and this is from The Guardian. Revealed LAPD officers told to collect social media data on every civilian they stop. An internal police chief memo shows employees were directed to use field interview calls which could then be reviewed. The Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, has directed its officers to collect the social media information of every civilian they interview, including individuals who are not arrested or accused of a crime, according to records shared with The Guardian. Copies of the field interview calls that police complete when they question civilians reveal that LAPD officers were instructed to record a civilian's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and other social media accounts alongside basic biographical information. An internal memo further shows that the police chief, Michael Moore, told employees that it was critical to collect the data for use in investigations, arrests, and prosecutions, and warned that supervisors would review calls to ensure they were complete. Documents which were obtained by the not-for-profit organization, the Brennan Center for Justice, have raised concerns about civil liberties and the potential mass surveillance of civilians without justification. There are dangers about police having all of this social media identifying information at their fingertips, said Rachel Levinson-Waldman, a deputy director at the Brennan Center, noting the information was probably stored in a database that could be used for a wide range of purposes. The Brennan Center conducted a review of 40 other police agencies in the U.S., and was unable to find another department that required social media collection on interview cards, though many have not publicly disclosed copies of the cards. The organization also obtained records about the LAPD social media surveillance technologies, which raised questions about the monitoring of activist groups, including Black Lives Matter. In 2015, the department added social media accounts as a line on the physical field interview cards, according to a newly unearthed memo from the previous LAPD chief, Charlie Beck. Similar to a nickname or an alias, a person's online persona or identity used for social media can be highly beneficial to investigations, he wrote. While the social media collection has gone largely unnoticed, the LAPD's use of field interview cards prompted controversy. Last October, prosecutors filed criminal charges against 3 officers in the LAPD's Metro Division, accusing them of using the cards to falsely label civilians as gang members after stopping them. That unit also has a history of stopping black drivers at disproportionately high rates, and according to the LA Times, has more frequently filled out cards for black and Latino residents they stop. I think it's about time where I would tell people that this is something called the Fifth Amendment. Now, if you're stopped by the police, you don't have to tell them anything. Now, granted, I will say to you this, that doesn't necessarily work out well because the cops could react with violence. You have no idea what they'll do. But remember, if they say you must tell us something, you don't have to. There's no law that says you have to say anything. The Constitution, the Fifth Amendment, says you have the right to remain silent. Just remember that. Meanwhile, more than half of the civilians stopped by Metro officers and documented in the cards were not arrested or cited, the Daily Times reported. The fact that the department under scrutiny for racial profiling was also engaged in broad-scale social media account collection is troubling, said Levinson-Waldman. Furthermore, when police obtain social media usernames, it opens the door for officers to monitor an individual's connection and friends online, creating additional privacy concerns. It allows for huge expansion of network surveillance, said Levinson-Waldman, noting how police and prosecutors have previously used Facebook photos and likes to make dubious or false allegations of criminal gang activity. Hamid Khan of the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition noted the LAPD also shares data with federal law enforcement agencies through fusion centers, and has previously used predictive policing technologies that rely on data collected by officers in the field and which can criminalize communities of color. Well, that's the only thing they use. You know, like Paul Mooney said, don't shoot until you see the color of their skin. This is like Stop and Frisk, he said, of the use of field interview cards, and this is happening with the clear goal of surveillance. The LAPD, he noted, has allowed officers to pose undercover to investigate groups, meaning officers can create fake social media accounts to infiltrate groups. Dr. Melina Abdullah, co-founder of Black Lives Matter LA, said he had long suspected the LAPD conducted targeted trafficking of specific groups or individual accounts, but was surprised to learn of the default collection of this information in everyday encounters. She fears this could be part of a massive surveillance operation. The copies of the cards obtained by the Brennan Center also revealed that police are instructed to ask civilians for their social security numbers and are advised to tell interviews that it must be provided under federal law. I say again, the Fifth Amendment, you don't have to say anything if you don't want to. Kathleen Kim, a Loyola law professor and immigrants' rights expert who previously served on the LA Police Commission, said she was not aware of any law requiring individuals to disclose social security numbers to local police. And that's another thing. It's not illegal for the police to lie to you to get a confession. There's plenty of cop shows have shown that, where they've just said, "We know you're guilty, just tell us why you did it." But let's keep going. And she said she was shocked to learn about the Social Security section on the cards, noting that it was so antithetical to the department's own policies and clearly violated the spirit of sanctuary laws, which are supposed to prevent officers from asking civilians their immigration status. The LAPD has previously taken steps to ensure there was not requesting place of birth information to improve trust with undocumented community, she said. The LAPD, and this is just incredible. Like, how is it that people can be illegal and they're not enforcing the law? This is what I keep saying. They keep saying that you must, the police just do their job, but now they're saying that they're going to pick and choose which laws they enforce. It's just crazy. The LAPD told The Guardian on Tuesday that the field interview card policy was being updated, but declined to provide further details. The revelations of broad social media data collection also raised concern about how police monitor activists. The Brennan Center obtained LAPD documents related to Geophilia, a private social media monitoring firm that partners with law enforcement and has previously marketed itself as a tool to monitor BLM protests. One internal document, which is undated but appears to be several years old, listed keywords and hashtags that the LAPD appeared to be monitoring through Geophilia, and they were almost exclusively related to Black Lives Matter and similar leftist protests. It includes BLMA, Say Her Name, Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice, Fuck Donald Trump, and the names of people killed by LA police that prompted major protests. The list does not include any hashtags for right-wing demonstrations and far-right movements, which have grown increasingly violent in recent years in the region. The context in which these search terms were used is unclear from the records provided, and the LAPD did not respond to questions. The city's attorney's office said the LAPD stopped using Geophilia around 2017, and the agency did not have a current list of keywords for social media monitoring. Abdullah, who helped organize around many of the hashtags the LAPD was monitoring, noted that BLM's actions were not violent. They're following black protesters who are organizing to stop violence and saying, "Stop killing us," and are they turning a blind eye to those who are actually violent. The white supremacist organizations are growing in number. In a 2016 memo to LAPD, included in records another social media tracking company, Dataminer, listed under success stories, its tracking of a BLMLA protest outside a jail, saying the firm uncovered the first images of people at the protest, as well as tracking of a protest featuring a giant blow-up statue of Trump. The local news site LA Taco reported last week the LAPD had used Dataminer to monitor last year's BLM protest for George Floyd. Jacinta Gonzalez, an organizer with advocacy group Miente, said the LAPD records appear to fit a pattern of how police in America respond to protest organizations. There is a long history of law enforcement using surveillance, whether in person or through digital technologies, to attack Black and Latino movements fighting for racial justice. The Brennan Center's records further reveal the LAPD is now seeking to use technology from a new company, Media Sonar, which also tracks social media for police. In the 2021 budget, the LAPD allotted $73,000 to purchase Media Sonar software to help the department address a potential threat or incident for its occurrence. The extent of the LAPD's Media Sonar use is unclear, but the company's communications with the LAPD have raised questions. Well, anyway, I think that's enough. I'll leave the article in the description. Please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.